Iranian officials have begun openly blaming one another and external enemies for the wave of unrest spreading across the country, exposing deep divisions within the political establishment as Tehran grapples with one of the most serious challenges to the Islamic Republic in years. According to Iran International, members of parliament have accused both the government and the general public of contributing to the economic collapse that sparked the protests. President Massoud Pezeshkian and senior figures in his administration have responded by shifting responsibility back onto parliament, highlighting a familiar pattern of elite infighting that tends to emerge during moments of national crisis. The public exchange of accusations reflects growing anxiety within Iran's leadership over the scale and persistence of the unrest. Speaking at a meeting with officials and academics on Tuesday, January 6, Pezeshkian acknowledged that responsibility for the current situation was shared across institutions. In an unusually self-critical tone, he stated that both his administration and the Majlis bore blame for the policy failures and mismanagement that helped fuel public anger. However, official statements have notably avoided addressing the role of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei or the long-term consequences of decades of centralized decision-making. Khamenei has intervened only once so far, according to Iran International, and his remarks focused on the need for stricter control rather than dialogue. Protest is legitimate, but protest is different from rioting, he said on Saturday. We talk to protesters, but there is no use in talking to rioters. Rioters must be put in their place. His comments have drawn criticism from protesters, many of whom have made Khamenei himself a central target of their anger, accusing him of bankrupting the country through costly military ventures abroad and the financing of regional proxy forces. 59. As demonstrations continued, hardline lawmakers returned to familiar rhetoric, portraying the unrest as the result of foreign interference. Fatmeh Mohammad Beji, a lawmaker from Qazvin, described protesters as rioters and argued that they should be intimidated into ending what she called a mutiny. She claimed that enemies were smuggling weapons into Iran and urged security forces to confront demonstrators with harsh measures. Human rights groups and activist networks report that at least 36 protesters have been killed since the unrest began, with many more wounded. In one of the more alarming incidents, a hospital in the particularly volatile province of Ilam was reportedly raided in order to arrest injured demonstrators. Mohammad Beji alleged in an interview with the moderate outlet Rudad 24 that Israeli and U.S. mercenaries were behind the hospital raid, as well as market shutdowns and acts of property damage. Similar accusations were voiced by Esmail Kausari, a Tehran lawmaker, IRGC officer, and member of Parliament's National Security Committee. Speaking to the state-linked ILNA news agency, Kausari claimed that Iran's enemies were attempting to destabilize the country after what he described as their defeat in a war with Iran. He argued that Israel and the United States were now pursuing a soft war strategy through social media and information campaigns. Kausari also criticized the government for failing to control markets amid economic turmoil and suggested that Parliament should summon President Pezeshkian to explain his handling of the crisis. Moderate political figures have warned that such confrontational moves and mutual accusations risk deepening the unrest rather than resolving it, further eroding public trust and intensifying divisions within Iran's ruling elite.